Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mary. Thank you all. Like, really big thanks to Dee. And I just want to say thank you for believing in me, in the message. This whole idea that, you know, people who are poor don't deserve to live. We need to fight against that idea. And I will do that every step of the way, because the reality is, like, we do deserve single-payer health care. There's a bill sitting in the state Senate right now that is one state Senate vote away from passing. My vote could be that one vote. Thank you. We need to protect our environment. Fracking is environmental suicide. We don't allow it in New York State for a reason, and frack waste should not be dumped in Chemung County. We need to fight against that. The Elmira High School on the south side is in a state of ecological devastation, and there's been so little transparency around the matter. The community has no idea what lives beneath the soil, and we need a full investigation into what lies beneath, because transparency is important, and until we know what actually is going on, like, we can't do a complete remediation, which absolutely needs to be done in order to protect the health and welfare of the students and the teachers and the people who work at the high school and the people who live in the neighborhood around the high school. It's time to stop turning a blind eye. So I think those are some really important things on my agenda. I think we can do so much more. You know, we deserve living wages. Anybody who's working a full-time job deserves to earn enough money to live. And if that means bringing back industry, I'd love to see it, because people want to work. They don't want to go stand at social services for a check. They want a job where they only have a boss to answer to, you know. And I would love to see a state bank in New York that will fund employee-owned cooperatives to create manufacturing opportunities here in Chemung County and throughout the 58th district. We have a lot of potential, and I say this because every day I meet somebody new, and they have at least half a dozen really good ideas floating around inside their heads, but they just lack the resources. And that's where the state of New York needs to step it up, because the state of New York has the resources. We're just misappropriating them. You know, we're incentivizing large-scale business, you know, where the people who own them are at record profits and the people who work for them are living in abject misery because they don't make enough money to live. And it's wrong. It's just wrong. Let's call it what it is. We can do so much more once we have more money in our pockets. We can actually care about our neighbors again. And that's all we want to do, is just live. And that's not too much to ask. So I really thank you all for coming out tonight, and I thank you for believing in this message, that we're all human and we're all in this together. And that if we all really stick it in together, we can beat big business, we can beat big money, because the fact of the matter is, you can't eat a paycheck, but you can feed a family with one. So I'm gonna work so hard for the people of this state, because most of these people have worked hard their whole life and they're just getting left behind, and that's not gonna happen once I'm in Albany. I see you, and I'm here to help.
I am running for the single father who's stretched to the breaking point, for the parents trying to save to give their kids a better life than they had. I'm running for them. I'm running for our seniors who have to choose between eating or their medication. I'm running for the wildlife who doesn't have a voice but keeps getting encroached on by natural gas, by corporations who seem to do what they want without any regard to anyone. So that's who I am. My name is Andrew Stowe, District 5 County Legislature.
Wildly passionate. You don't meet too many people that are so passionate, and actually have the courage to get up and do what you're doing. So I commend you for that. You have my utmost respect for that. And there's a lot of us that are doing the same thing, that are stepping up and fighting for our communities, especially here in Chemung County, where for 40 years the road's been kind of paved for us without us having a say. And I think that it's time. It's time, and there's a lot of us that are willing to say, what we think matters. And I think that what we think matters. And there are many issues in this county. I also spent some years living in Tompkins County. I lived in Ithaca for some time. So for some of you folks that are here from Ithaca, first, thanks for making the drive. But there are some differences. This feels like a much darker place when you come here. I want to change that, and I think that we all want to change that. There's things like Elmira High School, like Pete said. Me and Pete go back to Father Fidelis and St. Peter and Paul, at 4 years old or something like that. This is a long time. But the fact that it's not been done, that the full remediation hasn't been done, it's sickening. It needs to be done. It just needs to be done. That's one of the reasons why I'm running, is because I want it to happen, but I also want to be able to speak for the little people. I want to be able to speak for the people that are making poverty wages, and help empower them to get out of poverty. If we got to go one house at a time, then that's what we're going to do, and really work. I am also a very passionate person, if you can't tell. But I come from nothing, and whatever I have, I've worked hard to get. But I know that it's not impossible. So I'm trying to show my children that whatever ceiling that they have, that they set for you, break it. Whatever boundaries that they set for you, go beyond them, because you can. And I think that we all can. There is no can't. And then we just, all of us, we just need support from people like all of you who believe in our message, that believe that we can do something and make some great positive change, because it's our responsibility. And that's kind of why we're doing this. So, Amanda, this is your show. One big giant round of applause for Amanda.